Hello again, my friends. Today, let's talk more about the Monroe Institute, the Gateway Tapes to Gateway Voyage program. And today we're talking about what I've gotten out of these meditations, what I've gotten out of this work. Um, is so much. There's so much to talk about here. I know we won't be able to do it all in a video, but I'm going to try to give you like a high level perspective of kind of what I feel that I've gotten out of this. And then we can go deeper. We'll definitely need to go deep diving on some of these stuff. I just went over my notes from the institute, and holy moly, there's so much there. So much happened. I was like, God, I should have read that more recently. But the mind blowing things that happened while we were at the Gateway Voyage program were literally just mind blowing. I can't wait to tell you some of those things. But let's focus today on what I feel that I've gotten out of it. The very first thing is expanded perspective. So and this is a huge one, so I apologize. We're not going to get super deep today on this one, but it's just a true knowing, not a theory, not a guess, not a hope, not even a belief, but a knowing of what this universe is, what this life is, why we're here, all of those things. Because of my conversations, what I've seen, what I've done in these meditations, like, it all makes sense. It all makes freaking sense. All of it. Like, it's phenomenal to have this expanded awareness. And that alone will feed into some of these other things that I'll talk about. But probably one of the biggest ones, most helpful ones maybe, is what what Monroe has, on the thing. It says, I know it's backwards, but you are more than your physical body. That is the biggest one, probably. And it's, again, not a belief, not a theory, not something someone else is telling you. You experience it. And you're like, holy crap, this physical reality that we have here is not it. It's not even a fraction of what's actually real. And so that alone, just knowing that, when we're done with this physical existence, that there's so much more out there. That's just a massive, massive one. Next one, these are more mental physiological things. Reduced anxiety overall. Because when you get this expanded awareness and you get certain tools to help with anxiety, we're talking the reball, the breathing exercises, resonant tuning, whatever you want to call it. Those things alone provide so much reduced anxiety, mental clarity, and concentration. I used to have, I don't know if it was COVID or what, but I used to have some like serious brain fog for several years, and it's gone. Like, it's totally gone. When I sit down to actually do my day job and work, like, it just works. My brain's like, okay, let's go. What about this? What about that? And it's working. Whereas for a long time there, it was just like, hello, is anybody there? Can you please, we actually need to work here. And my job really does require thinking. So I can't it's not just a processing type of job. So it's amazing to have my focus again, my clarity again, and just all of that. And I really do think it's the meditations. A big part of that is just being able to slow down and be in the moment. If nothing else, if you accomplish nothing else, if you experience nothing else in your meditations, if you receive no communications, like, just the fact that you're just stopping and being in the present moment makes a huge difference, physiologically, psychologically, etc. Better sleep. That's another thing I'm getting out of it. I think it's a combination of, again, the basic meditation stuff, but also I'd say it's also some of the things that I learned, like the energy conversion box. That alone, as I'm getting ready to sleep, I now have the tool to be like, when things start coming up in my head, I got to remember this, got to do that. I just throw those things in the box, and he just sucks it right up. And so I fall asleep way better than I used to. So my sleep is better. I'm actually sleeping full 7 to 8 hours every night. It's phenomenal. That I know has come from these meditations. Next one, I've learned how to manage. Now, I've kind of gotten inklings of this from other kind of teaching systems in the past, but I've gotten much, much better at it now. And that is just managing my own energy and then being more intentional about where I give my energy externally. And being able to protect my energy if I go into a place. Like, if I go into busy airports, I get on airplanes, things like that, and I travel a lot for my job. So if I do that, I can put up the reball and I'm golden. golden, like totally fine. People might be freaking out all around me, and the energy itself doesn't get in. It doesn't get in, and that is massive. Especially as a empathetic individual who would always like take on other people's energies all the time, having the reball, amazing, magical. And I learned that from this program. The next ones are like really big, really big. Compassion for others and less judgment. When you experience kind of the higher consciousness stuff and communicate to higher beings or your higher self, whatever it happens to be, you just gain that perspective that I talked about, and you become far less judgy. Even as you see people taking actions that you believe are not in their best interest, or not in the interest of yourself, or interested in the best interest of the people at large, you have a deeper understanding of where they're coming from, why they're doing it, why they're acting from this place of fear, and you judge them less. You're just like, yeah, I can put myself in their shoes in terms of like their experience and what they've gone through and kind of their perspective, and I can see why they're doing it. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. And again, empathy is not endorsement. I have a whole video on that, but you can at least empathize with them, and I don't judge them as much anymore. I'm still working on it. I'm still human. It's a work in progress, but I'm way better than I used to before. When I see people doing really sketchy things, I'm like, yep, not my choice, not my preference, but I can see why they are where they are. And hopefully if they're close to me, we can kind of work out something to where they can have an expanded awareness of their own to see how their behaviors are negatively affecting themselves and others, but less judgment. So that's amazing. A big one was, I kind of knew this already, but to feel it, to experience it, to actually talk to my grandmother who passed 20 years ago, to my father who passed. There's a whole story there. I learned about my father passing while I was in meditation. So there's a whole story. I promise I will give you that video. It was very confusing in the moment, but then it was like mind blowing. But being able to talk with them and just kind of hear their perspectives on things well after they've gone, like that's magic. Like that's freaking magic. I've heard of mediums. I've even seen them at like Ren Fair and such. And I'm like, I know that that's a thing, but I'm like, I never thought I could do it. And so since I've done it now, it's amazing. And not just my loved ones. There's whole stories about me talking to other people's loved ones on their behalf, and the crap that came out of it. Like, wait till you hear those stories. Amazing. Like the knowledge that I had no way of ever possibly knowing, because I didn't know these people at all, that came true. Oh, it is amazing. But anyway, I'll tell you more about that. But just really, it goes back to knowing that this is not it, and that your loved ones who have passed are just fine. They're better than fine. They're fantastic. My dad is having the time of his, I can't say life, but existence. Like, he's loving it. And then one more, there's probably so many more, but just the last one that I wrote down for this particular session is learning how to do self-healing and remote healing of others. They have at the Monroe Institute this thing called the Dolphin Energy Club, and it's just where you use the tools to send healing energy to somebody in need. And you can use it on yourself, of course. That's where you learn it. When you actually go into Gateway Voyage, you will learn a bit of that. There'll be at least an afternoon spent on that. And I totally healed my knee. My knee was jacked up for months, and it's fit as a fiddle now. It's perfect because of that work that I did. So being able to do this whole energy healing, I want to learn Reiki. I don't know anything about it. I want to get into that because I think that's another way I could help people. But just the fact that it's a real thing and it actually worked, and I physically experienced that it worked and saw several other people just this fixed, that fixed, this fixed, like all the way around a room. Magical stuff. So tools like that are just overall just, God, makes life better in so many ways. And again, all founded in science, scientific approach, and just understanding what our world is around us, and no theology, no religion, no mysticism. Just, this is the reality that we're in, that the physical world is only a tiny little piece of our actual reality. So that's all for now. There's so much more to tell, and we'll go deep on a lot of those stories. But until then, I love you all. Let me know what you think. Tell me your experiences, and yeah, we'll go from there.